Hi everyone, it's Terry here, and in today's video we'll be looking at Adobe Premiere Pro interface. The interface is mainly made up of panels, and a panel is easily recognized by a blue border around it. Well, the name of a panel is at the top left of every panel. For example, the name of this panel is program, the name of this other panel is timeline, and then this is the project panel. Then if you click on the small icon beside the panel, you have other options of the panel. So for example, I can close this panel, or you can undock it, you can open another panel group. So the workspace is made up of different panels. All these panels can be displayed as you wish. So every panel can be moved. So if I click on this program panel, I can move it around, and then I dock it wherever I want. If I have this effect panel, I can click on it and move it around, and I put it right down here. If I have a project panel, I can click here and put it around here. So every panel can be moved and positioned where necessary. You can set up a workspace that fits your needs and bring it up anytime. For example, if I want to save this workspace, I go to window, you go to save new workspace, and I can write maybe tutorial workspace. So if I come back to this, if I do an error, or maybe if I change it, or somebody works on my machine and changes the workspace, I can come back here and in the workspace window, I can find exactly the workspace I saved. Well, by default, Premiere Pro has default workspace, and generally the workspace that opens with Premiere Pro default is the editing workspace. Premiere Pro also has different workspace for different kind of purposes. Actually, they are preset workspace. So for different type of kind of purposes, you have assembly, audio, color workspace, effects. So there are different workspaces depending on the work you're doing. To make it easy, to make a task easy, it's better to change your workspace depending on what you're doing. For example, if you're working a lot with audio, maybe you want to consider working with the audio workspace. So you click on audio workspace, and you see how the workspace automatically changes and displays and rearranges the panels to make it easy for you to work with audio. But generally we'll be working in editing mode, so let's go back to editing. The project panel right here is the area where you import all your clips, your images, and your audio files. It also stores items which have been created with by Premiere Pro itself, like sequences, titles, column mates. Now let's say you want to import a video or import a footage. A footage, it can be anything which you use in the project. It can be a video, an image, or a sound. Let's say you want to import it. There are different ways of importing a footage. You can double click on the project panel, or you can come to file and you go to import. You can still import the footage, or again you can right click and say import. So those are the three main ways in which you can import a footage into Premiere. To add generated files by Premiere, that is what do I mean by generated file? It means things like sequences, things like text, things like column mates. Now what you do is that you right click on the space and you go to new item, then you now select what you want. You can also create folders to better organize your work, or they call it bin. So you can create a bin is a sort of folder which is not created in the Explorer, where you can easily organize your work and insert some. I can rename this bin maybe as I don't know, video, and I can also rename this other one, I don't know, audio, stuff like that. Now let's take a look at the source panel. Now before that, let's import this. Now the source panel permits you to view the files coming from the project panel. If I double click on this image, the source panel permits me to view the files coming directly from here. Now to start editing the footage in the source panel, what we'll do is I will click here and drag in the timeline. Oops, sorry, this is not a timeline panel. So if you notice that there is a panel that you want to have and you don't have it in the workspace, what you do is that you come to this window, and I'm looking for the timeline. Yes, timeline panel, and it is with this panel that we do the editing. And let me put him somewhere here. And this was actually the audio. This one was actually the audio panel. So what was I saying? So to start editing this, you click here, you drag and you drop it in the timeline panel. So you have this window that changes, the panel changes to this. Well, in the timeline you can also see multiple videos and audio tracks. These V1s and A1s stand for audio and video tracks. You can create some and delete some while working. You can expand a track to view more details. About the track. Then just beside the timeline window, the timeline panel, sorry, you have the tool panel. So these tools on this bar are used to maybe editing, used for fast editing. Permit you to maybe cut a video or cut a footage, to slice a footage, to select a footage, to hold, and to add text. In this version, to add they've added the text icon in the toolbar, which is different from the other versions. from 2018 downward, you will not find this icon here. So it's just in 2017 that they added this text icon here to make it a little bit easy when you want to add a text. In the program panel, you can view the file which is being edited down here in the timeline. So that's the difference between this program panel and the source panel. The program panel is like the output and the source panel is like the input. Now let's talk about the effect panel. The effect panel, this panel here is very important in Premiere. As the name says, in this panel you find different effects, different transitions and presets which you can add to your video to make it more interesting, or to leap from one sequence or video to another. You use an effect, a transition effect, to apply an effect on a desired. Let's say I want to apply an effect on this video. So I'll come to video effects. I'll choose anyone, maybe blur, maybe Gaussian blur, I don't know. Now to apply the effect, I click on the effect, I drag and maintain, I drag and then I drop it on the video. Now once you have applied you've dropped the effect, or you've applied the effect on the video, you can now go to the effect controls panel. Here you control the effect or the properties of the effect you just dropped on the video. I dropped the effect I dropped was Gaussian blur, so I can vary the property of the effect from here. Let's say if I increase this value, see what happens. The video it increases the blurriness of the video. As you can notice, this video already had some effects before the blurring effect, before the Gaussian blur we added. So these effects here are called the. So before even adding this Gaussian blur effect, there were already some default effects applied to this video, and these effects are called the properties of the clip. So you see already there were some effects there, like the opacity, the motion, the volume. So all these effects are that are called properties of the clip. Before now we added this Gaussian blur. For example, for the motion effect, I can scale the video, I can change the position and so on. So to finish, I'll talk about the audio. This audio mixer. This is a basic audio mixer which we'll be using to control the volume of the video. Well, we're going to come back to all this in the subsequent tutorials. Today I just wanted to present the interface in general. It's made up of panels. You can play around the panels. You see, it's not very complicated. You have all the panels. Every panel has specific functions, and you can get the panels in this window. So there are basic panels you always find: audio meter, effect control panels, effect panel, the tool, the workspace panel. You have all these panels you always want to use: the timeline panel, the project panel, program panel, the source panel. Okay, that was it for today. Leave a comment below if you have any suggestion. Like the video if you liked it, and see you next time.